Hello, my name is Irving. I am one of the Earth's rock people. We live deep in the mountains of ubiquitous and deep underground caves and lairs. We spend our days fishing and hunting unless we are interrupted. Although we are little, we can still do terrible things to you. When any hunters come through and disturb these lands, we get very territorial. We will knock you off the pathway with strange sounds until you are completely lost. Then we will appear and offer you help. And if you accept, it will be the biggest mistake you ever make. We'll take you deeper into the bush and tie you up in a tree. Then we'll throw rocks at you until you're barely conscious, laughing all the while. And then we'll leave you to the wild ones. And there's still a chance you'll succumb to Mother Nature. So, if you're ever in our territory, be respectful and do not disturb our lands. And always remember this warning. The Appalachian Mountains are my domain. I have roamed these ancient peaks and valleys for centuries, watching over the land and its inhabitants. Humans, in their arrogance, believe they are the masters of nature, but they do not understand the forces that dwell in these mountains. We rock people have been here since time immemorial, guardians of the Earth's secrets and avengers of its desecration. The world above changes with the seasons, but deep within the mountains, time flows differently. Our caves and lairs are sanctuaries of stillness, places where the echoes of the past reverberate eternally. We fish in subterranean rivers and hunt the creatures that have adapted to this dark, hidden world. Our existence is peaceful, as long as we are left undisturbed. But when humans venture into our territory, disrupting the delicate balance of our home, we must act. The first sign of an intruder is often a careless footfall, a broken branch, or a whisper carried on the wind. We sense their presence long before they realize they are not alone. Our senses are attuned to the slightest disturbance, and we move through the darkness with silent precision. I remember one particular intrusion that still brings a grim smile to my face. It was late autumn, the air crisp, and the leaves a riot of color. A group of hunters had made camp at the base of the mountain, their laughter and campfire light piercing the tranquility of the night. They were seasoned outdoorsmen, confident in their abilities, but they had no idea what awaited them. As they slept, we began our work. We mimicked the sounds of wild animals, eerie cries and rustlings that set the hunters on edge. They awoke, weapons at the ready, scanning the darkness for threats they could not see. We led them on a wild chase through the forest, always just out of sight, our laughter mingling with the wind. When they were thoroughly disoriented, we revealed ourselves. Small, wiry figures with skin the color of the stone, eyes gleaming with a malevolent light. The hunters, to their credit, did not flee. Instead, they raised their rifles ready to fight. But their bullets could not harm us, and we danced through their ranks, laughing as they swung and fired in vain. One by one, we knocked them off their feet, our strength far greater than our size would suggest. We dragged them, struggling and cursing, deeper into the forest. They begged for mercy, promised to leave and never return. But it was too late. They had disturbed our lands, and they would pay the price. We tied them to the trees, their arms and legs bound with vines and branches. Then the rocks began to fly. At first they laughed, thinking it was some cruel prank, but their laughter turned to screams as the stones grew larger and more numerous. Blood flowed, bones shattered, and still we did not stop. Only when they were broken and barely conscious did we leave them to the wild ones. The wild ones are the creatures of the forest, the beasts that humans have long forgotten. Wolves with eyes that glow like embers, bears that move with silent grace, and other darker things that have no names. They came for the hunters, drawn by the scent of blood and fear. The forest was alive with the sounds of their feeding, a cacophony of growls and screams that echoed through the night. By morning, nothing remained of the intruders but scattered bones and tattered clothing. The forest reclaimed their camp, the ashes of their fire scattered by the wind. The mountain was quiet once more, and we returned to our lairs, satisfied that our home was safe. But not all who come to our lands are hunters or campers. Some are seekers of knowledge, drawn by the legends and mysteries that surround the Appalachian Mountains. They come with their books and cameras, their instruments and questions, eager to uncover the secrets of the earth. They are the most dangerous, for they seek to understand what should remain hidden. One such seeker was a man named Dr. Elias Reed, a geologist with a passion for the unknown. He had spent years studying the formations and minerals of the Appalachian region, his curiosity leading him ever deeper into the mountains. He was persistent, driven by a need to uncover the truth behind the legends of the rock people. Dr. Reed's research had brought him close to our domain, and we watched him with growing concern. He was different from the others, more methodical and cautious. He did not disturb the land carelessly but moved with purpose and respect. Still, his presence was an intrusion, and we could not allow him to uncover our secrets. We began to unsettle him with subtle tricks, moving his equipment, creating strange noises, and leaving him just enough clues to keep him intrigued but on edge. He was determined, though, and did not falter. His persistence was admirable, but it would be his undoing. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Dr. Reed found himself at the entrance to one of our deeper caves. The air was cool and damp, the darkness impenetrable beyond the beam of his flashlight. He hesitated, a sense of foreboding washing over him, but his curiosity won out. He stepped inside, unaware that he was walking into a trap. We followed him silently, our eyes accustomed to the darkness. He moved cautiously, marking his path with chalk and taking samples of the rock formations. His notes were meticulous, his observations keen. He was getting too close to the truth. When he reached a chamber deep within the cave, we made our move. The air grew cold. His flashlight flickered and died. He fumbled in the darkness, trying to find his spare batteries. But we moved in, our forms barely visible in the faint glow of his lantern. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice echoing off the stone walls. There was no answer, only the sound of his own breathing and the drip of water from the cave ceiling. We let him stew in his fear for a moment before revealing ourselves. He saw us then, small figures emerging from the shadows, our eyes gleaming with a cold, malevolent light. He stumbled back, dropping his lantern, the glass shattering on the stone floor. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice trembling. "We want you to leave," I said, my voice a low growl. "You do not belong here." Dr. Reed tried to reason with us, to explain his work and his respect for the land. But it was too late. He had come too far, seen too much. We could not let him go. We surrounded him, our movements swift and silent. He fought, but he was no match for us. We bound him with vines and carried him deeper into the cave, his screams echoing through the tunnels. We tied him to a stalagmite, his arms stretched above his head, and began our ritual. The rocks flew, striking him with relentless force. Blood flowed, his cries growing weaker with each blow. But this time we did not stop. We needed to send a message, to show the world that our domain was not to be trifled with. When he was finally silent, we left him there, his body broken and lifeless. His research was scattered, his notes destroyed. The cave would become his tomb, a warning to all who might follow in his footsteps. The disappearance of Dr. Elias Reed made headlines, sparking renewed interest in the legends of the rock people. But no one dared venture into the mountains to search for him. The stories of his fate were enough to keep even the most curious at bay. We returned to our peaceful existence, fishing and hunting in the depths of the earth. But we remained vigilant, always watching, always waiting. The mountains are our home, and we will protect them at any cost. So if you ever find yourself in the Appalachian Mountains, be respectful and do not disturb our lands. Remember this warning, and heed the stories of the rock people. For we are always here, watching from the shadows, ready to defend our home with terrible vengeance. Hello, my name is Irving, and this is our story. The Appalachian Mountains are our hunting ground, and the souls of the intruders are our sustenance. We are the reason they disappear, the shadows in the forest, the whispers in the dark, and we will never stop.